For most of history, this is what we thought the story of humanity was: a simple duel, our species, Homo sapiens against the Neanderthals. It was a straightforward narrative, a dead end on the long march to modern humanity, an evolutionary struggle we were destined to win. But what if everything we thought we knew was wrong? What if the story was missing a main character? In 2008, a tiny piece of a finger bone, found in a remote Siberian cave, revealed a secret. It exposed a ghost species, a third kind of human, whose story had been erased by time, but whose legacy is still alive, hiding inside the DNA of billions of people today. This is the story of the Denisovans, and it will change everything you thought you knew about our past. The discovery didn't just add another name to the list of extinct hominins. It shattered our neat and tidy family tree. It revealed a world not of linear progression, but of a tangled, interconnected web. A world where at least 3 different kinds of humans walked the earth at the same time. And not only walked it, but met, interacted, and even shared their most intimate moments. The story of the Denisovans isn't just about them. It's about us. And the answer to who they were is a mystery that resides within our very cells. Our story begins in a place that has been a crossroads for millennia: the Denisova Cave. Tucked away in the foothills of the Altai Mountains in southern Siberia, its cool, dry environment has acted as a perfect time capsule, preserving the secrets of those who sought shelter there for hundreds of thousands of years. For decades, archaeologists had unearthed tens of thousands of artifacts. It was a site of known importance, but no one could have predicted the revolution it was about to unleash. In 2008, a team was working through a layer of earth dated to between 30,000 and 50,000 years ago. Among countless fragments, they found something that looked utterly unremarkable: a tiny piece of a human finger bone. It was so small it could easily have been overlooked. In the grand scheme of paleontological finds, the complete skulls, the robust skeletons, this was next to nothing. But in the world of modern archaeology, the most profound answers can come from the smallest clues. The archaeologists knew this tiny bone held a potential treasure trove far more valuable than its physical form: ancient DNA. The bone was sent to the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Germany, into the hands of a team led by a man who was rewriting the rules of studying the past: Svante Pääbo. Pääbo and his colleagues were pioneers in the new science of paleogenomics, attempting what was once thought impossible: reading the genetic code of long-extinct beings. As this unassuming piece of a finger arrived at their lab, no one knew it held a secret that would not just add a new chapter to the story of humanity, but force us to rewrite the entire book. At the Max Planck Institute, Svante Pääbo's team got to work. Extracting and sequencing ancient DNA is a monumental task. Think of it like reassembling a book that has been shredded into millions of pieces, soaked in water for 50,000 years, and mixed with other books. The process is painstaking, requiring sterile clean rooms and incredibly powerful computational tools. The team first targeted the mitochondrial DNA, which is passed down only from the mother. They successfully sequenced it. Then came the moment of truth. They compared the sequence to the known genetic databases of modern humans and Neanderthals. The result was a shock. It didn't match. It wasn't modern human. It wasn't Neanderthal. It belonged to a lineage that was entirely new to science. The data suggested this individual's maternal line had diverged from ours about 1 million years ago. But to confirm this stunning revelation, they needed the entire genome, the nuclear DNA. After months of painstaking work, they succeeded. In 2010, they published their findings, and the world of paleoanthropology was turned on its head. The nuclear DNA confirmed it. The finger bone belonged to a group of archaic humans that was distinct from, but closely related to, Neanderthals. They were a sister group, having split from the Neanderthal lineage sometime around 450,000 years ago. Both groups, in turn, shared a common ancestor with Homo sapiens that lived roughly 600,000 years ago. For the very first time in history, a new type of ancient human had been identified not by an anatomist poring over a skull shape, but by a geneticist reading a 4-letter code of A's, T's, C's, and G's. They were named Denisovans, named after the cave where their existence was first revealed. This wasn't just a discovery, it was a paradigm shift. It proved that deep within the fragile, fragmented code of ancient bones lay a hidden history of humanity, a story of ghost species waiting to be read. The DNA bombshell left scientists with a tantalizing question: if the Denisovans existed, what did they look like? The genetic code could tell us about their relationships, but it couldn't give them a face. And the fossil record was almost insultingly sparse. All we had was that single pinky bone. But even that tiny fragment held clues. It was exceptionally thick and broad, suggesting an individual with a robust, powerful build, perhaps similar to the stocky Neanderthals. Soon, other fragments from the cave were identified as Denisovan, including a couple of massive molars. These teeth were a puzzle. They were far larger than Neanderthal or modern human teeth, reminiscent of much older hominins. This hinted at a powerful jaw, fueling speculation about what these archaic humans really looked like. For years, the story was confined to this single Siberian cave. But then, a discovery made decades earlier on the other side of Asia suddenly snapped into focus. In 1980, a monk had found a mysterious fossil jawbone in a cave on the high-altitude Tibetan plateau. In 2019, scientists managed to extract ancient proteins from its teeth. The signature was a match. It was a Denisovan. This was a game changer. The Shiahi mandible proved that Denisovans weren't just in Siberia. They had ranged across Asia and adapted to extreme altitudes. Over 10,000 feet, more than 100,000 years. Before modern humans were thought to have conquered such environments, slowly, a tentative portrait began to emerge. A face that was wider than ours or Neanderthals, with a low forehead and a protruding jaw. Some believe the Harbin cranium, or dragon man, is a leading candidate for a Denisovan skull. Further filling out this picture, we are still assembling this ghost from the faintest of clues. But every new piece reveals a distinct and powerful branch of the human family. The discovery of the Denisovans did more than just add a new human to the family album. It obliterated the old picture of isolated groups of humans evolving on separate tracks. In its place, a new picture emerged, a world of overlapping territories, chance encounters, and genetic mingling. Nowhere is this clearer than back at Denisova Cave. Analysis of DNA from the cave's sediment, literally from the dirt on the floor, shows the cave was a desirable piece of real estate, used intermittently by Denisovans, by Neanderthals, and eventually by early modern humans. For thousands of years, different kinds of humans saw the same sky, drank from the same river, and sheltered in the very same cave. The question was inevitable. Did they meet? And if so, what happened? The answer came in 2018, with the analysis of another tiny bone fragment labeled Denisova 11. It belonged to a teenage girl who lived and died around 90,000 years ago. When Svante Pääbo's team sequenced her genome, they found something that even they could hardly believe. Her DNA was an almost perfect 50/50ths split. Her mother was a Neanderthal. Her father was a Denisovan. This individual, nicknamed Denny, was a first-generation hybrid. She was the direct, unimpeachable proof that these two groups weren't just coexisting. They were interbreeding. And this wasn't an isolated case. Denny's father's own genome showed he had distant Neanderthal ancestors. The very concept of distinct species begins to blur in the face of this evidence. They were not alien species to one another. They were long-lost cousins who, upon meeting again, recognized each other as partners. The human family tree is not a tree at all. It is a braided river, a tangled web of streams that merge, flow together, and then diverge again. But this story isn't just locked away in the past. The final clue wasn't found in a cave, but in you, in me, in the DNA of billions of people alive today. As our Homo sapiens ancestors began their great migration out of Africa, they moved into lands occupied by Neanderthals and Denisovans. They lived there for hundreds of thousands of years, and they interbred. The genetic evidence is clear. Modern humans of European or Asian descent have, on average, between 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. But the Denisovan legacy is even more striking. While present in small amounts in mainland Asians, Denisovan DNA reaches its highest concentrations, between 3 and 5% in the indigenous peoples of Melanesia, Papua New Guinea, and Australia. But we didn't just inherit random DNA. We inherited genetic tools that helped our ancestors survive in a process called adaptive introgression. Think of it as a crucial evolutionary shortcut. The clearest example of this lies with the people of the Tibetan plateau. How do they thrive in the thin, low-oxygen air above 15,000 feet? They have a special version of a gene called EPAS1. That gene variant didn't evolve in modern humans. It is an almost perfect match for the version found in the Denisovan genome. Modern Tibetans inherited this super-altitude gene directly from Denisovans, who were already adapted to that environment. As the Shiahi jawbone proved, they were already there. This is not their only gift. Other genes strengthen our immune system, helping our ancestors fight off local pathogens. Denisovans provided our species with a survival kit for colonizing the world. They are a ghost in our DNA, but a ghost that handed us the keys to new kingdoms. Their story is our story. For all that we have learned, The story of the Denisovans is still shrouded in deep mystery. We are staring at a ghost that is only just beginning to take shape. Who were the Denisovans? Really, was Denisovan a single population or a label for a wide array of different archaic human groups spread across Asia? The genetic diversity we see suggests the latter. We may be looking at a whole spectrum of Denisovan-like peoples. And what of their culture? What was life like for them? For decades, we defined other hominins by what we thought they lacked: complex tools, art, language. But the discoveries in Denisova Cave challenge that notion. Alongside the hominin remains, archaeologists have found stunningly advanced artifacts, bone points, pendants, and a beautiful bracelet carved from a dark green stone. The tantalizing question is, who made them? Were the Denisovans capable of such symbolic expression? We simply don't have a definitive answer. But the possibility that they had a rich inner world, that they created beauty for beauty's sake, completely upends our old assumptions. The search is now on across all of Asia. Scientists are re-examining old fossils and searching for new sites. The story of the Denisovans is a powerful reminder that we are at the very beginning of understanding the true complexity of our origins. We are the last humans left, but we walk in the footsteps of many, and the echoes of their existence are all around us and even within us. From a single, almost forgotten finger bone, our entire understanding of the human story has been transformed. The Denisovans have emerged from the shadows, not as a minor footnote, but as a major branch of our family that thrived across the world's largest continent. They were survivors, pioneers, and artists. The discovery of the Denisovans has shattered the simple story of us versus them. It has shown us that the history of humanity is not a story of replacement, but a story of connection. Our species, Homo sapiens, is not some purebred lineage that conquered the world alone. We are a hybrid, a tapestry woven from the threads of different ancient peoples. We are simply the last ones standing, carrying the genetic ghosts of our cousins within us. This ghost in our DNA is a humbling reminder. It tells us that we were never alone, and that the story of humanity is far richer, more complex, and more mysterious than we ever dared to imagine. And the most exciting part, we are only just beginning to read the unwritten chapters. What do you think is the most fascinating part of the Denisovan story? Was it the discovery, the interbreeding, or the legacy they left? Let us know your theory in the comments below. And if you found this journey fascinating, be sure to subscribe for more stories from the epic history of humanity.